Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Morning,
sir.
good
Good morning,
morning,
sir.
sir.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
sir.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir.
Very good
Good
morning. Very
morning,
good
ma'am.
morning. Good morning. So, how was the summer vacation and the lockdown experience? It was good enough.
Boring, sir.
It was boring.
Yes, sir.
Why,
Yes, sir.
Durga?
Both.
लॉकडाउन में घर में इसलिए बोरिंग
Your voice is coming very slow. Durga, your voice is coming very slow. Can you increase
यस
something?
सर
हाँ.
यस सर सर
Hmm.
कहाँ पे नहीं घूम घूम सकते हैं ना इसलिए
अच्छा तो it is a better opportunity to explore and to learn something because you are getting lot of time
ये
to explore. That is also
सर
one of
बट
the advantage.
ये सर some extent is it is right but after that
We are human and we are social
yes
animal,
sir
so we need
yes sir
society. Okay, okay. So what about others? Everything is fine.
Yes,
सर
sir.
सर आप कैसे हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ. I am very much well now. So in the today's class, we will see about Vedanta philosophy. Here, we will study about the Vedanta in two classes because one class will not be very much sufficient. In the first part, we will try to understand what is Vedanta because unless or until we will not understand about the Vedanta, then we will not be able to understand the Vedanta philosophy of education. So, first, it is required to understand what is Vedanta. In the previous discussion, we have seen that there are two branches in the Indian philosophy. That is, one is the orthodox, and the another one. Can somebody remember what were these two? What was that?
orthodox और heterodox people
Yes, yes, yes. Very good. One was the orthodox and another was the heterodox. So the orthodox philosopher, they were believing in the God. They accept the religious doctrine. So those who were accepting and acting in accordance with the religious doctrine, they were uh, termed as the orthodox. And when we say that they were accepting and acting according to the religious doctrine, means they were accepting Vedas as the authority. They were accepting the authority of Vedas. And those who were not accepting the authority of Vedas, those who were not acting in accordance with the religious doctrine, they were termed as the heterodox. So these were the two basic branch of Indian philosophy. And we know that the in the ancient time, not ancient time, in the Vedic time, Vedic period, better to say that, in the Vedic period, different type of Vedas were uh, written. Different type of Vedas has come as a different sources of knowledge. Like that, when we talk about the Atharva Vedas, it is the Veda which deals with the economic activity or the knowledge for the economical purpose. Yajurveda Veda. Yajurveda Veda deals with the medical sciences, treatment, how to treat the different diseases. Like that, the different Vedas were there. Okay, that was the one of the holy literature in the Vedic period of time. But as the time passes, it was realized that the Vedas are actually dealing with the knowledge, but and it was a source of knowledge related to the different things, related to the economics, related to the general life, related to the uh, treatment science, medical science, like that. It was a source of knowledge, and that's why the Vedas are also termed as a Shruti. Veda are also termed as a Shruti. So that was the Veda, it was a source of knowledge. But later on, it was also realized that the source of knowledge, the knowledge, must have its practical utility, and it must deals with the real life experience of a person. The experience input should be there. When we talk about the knowledge itself cannot be very well thought of, very well useful for the common person unless or until it have a practical utility. Together with it must be clubbed with the uh, the real life experience of a person and society. And that's why the Upanishads, different Upanishads were started, created during the Vedic time, which was Upanishad was revealing the absolute truth, which provides the liberation. Because knowing so much of a thing will not be very much useful. There should be a practical utility. So that by keeping in that mind, the Upanishads were created. And Upanishads were a literature that was revealing the absolute truth, which can provide the liberation. So, by keeping in that those things in our mind, Upanishads were created. And the Upanishad, there was a three basic principles of Upanishad. One was the Sravana, Manan, and Nindyasan. When we translate these things, Sravan is the accepting, getting the knowledge. Sravan, because at that time we know that there was not much facility of printing the text. The text and literature were written, handwritten in the Bhojpatra. It's a kind of a leaf which is very big, and comparatively it is easy to store and preserve. It was written in the Bhojpatra. So making a multiple copy was not very easy. So listening, that is the Sravan, when the Acharya is speaking, that was the one of the important part to get a knowledge. So that is the Sravan. Then Manan, you have to think about, because only listening and remembering will not be fruitful. Because if only we are listening and remembering, then where is the practical utility is coming? Where is the real life experience is coming? Not coming. So you have to think about the knowledge you are getting. And then the Nidhyasana. You have to reflect and you have to have a practical hands-on experiences. So Upanishads were talking on these three lines: Sravana, Manan, and Nindyasan. These three things were the prime focus in the Upanishads. And that was more practical oriented. That was more real life experience oriented. So they started getting more popularity. And that's why it is said that when the Upanishad came in the Vedic period, it was actually the starting of end of Vedas, because Vedas were not having the practical utility experiences that they were not dealing, and it was somehow not dynamic, because the Vedas, once it was written, it was not revised, it was not dynamic in nature. So that's why the Upanishads started getting more popularity over the time. And that's why it is said that it is the, when we say the Upanishads, when the Upanishads emerges, actually it was end of the era of Vedas, end of the era. As the Upanishad started emerging, that was the end of the Veda, and that is known as the Vedanta. Vedant literally means the end of the era of Vedas. I'm not saying that, and the Vedanta philosophy also does not says that we are not recognizing the importance of Veda. Veda are still important, and it has still significant in our life. I'm not saying that the significance of the Veda is minimized or it is not recognized. Still, we are recognizing the significance of Veda in our day-to-day life. The point here is that the thing which is more practical oriented has now come up. So people started preferring the things, the Upanishads. And that was the start of the Vedanta, the end of Vedanta, the concluding part of the Vedanta. And when we say the Vedanta, see, because Vedanta is concluding and the Upanishads are emerging. So you can understand the phenomena in two ways. The Vedanta means the concluding part of a Veda, one way of understanding. Another way of understanding is that if the Ved is concluding, then what is emerging? Upanishads are emerging. So it can be understood in a two way. One way is that it is the concluding part of a Vedas. And the second way is that it is the emergence of Upanishads. So Vedanta is mean in that way. You can understand it is the Vedas are concluding. Or you can say that the Upanishads are emerging, starting. So that is the Vedanta. And in the same way, as I was saying, that the Vedas were the narrative of knowledge. It was a literature that was talking about the knowledge. Whereas when we talk about the Vedanta or the Upanishads, it is the philosophical system which narrates the experience. It is the narratives of experience. Okay, so they in this way the Vedas and Upanishads are different. Vedas were the narratives of knowledge. Knowledge part was illustrated, explained in the Veda. Whereas when we talk about the Vedanta or the Upanishads, it is the narratives of experience. Experience, practical utility is emphasized here. And similarly, like that, we see that there were the different schools of a philosophy. Like that one, we have seen that the orthodox and heterodox philosophical system in Indian philosophy. Vedanta also have a different philosophical system. The one system was the Advait and Dvaits. And the third was the Visishtadvait. I will explain all the things. First, when we talk about the Dvaits, Dvait is a meant by the dualism, है ना? Duality, dual character. Duality is explained in this philosophy when we talk about the Dvait. All those philosophical schools are coming under the Vedanta. Okay. Initially, we have understood, seen that there are two systems, orthodox and heterodox. Orthodox are accepting and acting in accordance with the religious doctrine. And they are also accepting the authority of the Veda. They are orthodox. Heterodox, they are not accepting the authority of Veda and they are not acting and accepting in accordance with the religious doctrine. Within the orthodox, there is a Vedantis and there is a Vedantis system of philosophy. Within the Vedantis system of philosophy, the next hierarchy is Dvaits, Advait, and Visishtadvait. Dvait talks that there is a dualism. Dualism in the sense that the God and soul, they are existing independently. That is the Dvaitism. Dualism in English you can say that. That is a dualism. Dualism or Dvaits, they talks that the God and the soul, they exist independently. Their existence are independent. However, there may be correlation, there may be some relation between the God and a soul. They are not saying that there is no relation. There is a relation, but they exist independently. That is the dualism. And in the physics also you must have studied the dual characteristic property of a matter. Like that when we study about the conductor and a non-conductor. So there is one characteristic is the conducting, which can conduct the electricity. There is some type of a matter which cannot conduct the electricity. But there is some elements which can conduct electricity in some case. But in some case, they will not conduct the electricity. Like a silicon. So that is a dual character. So that the dualism talks that God and soul, they exist independently. And the Dvait dualism was propagated by the Madhava. Madhava was one of the philosophers in the Vedic time who propagated this philosophy. And this philosophy talks about that the God and soul is an independent identity and they can exist independently. Whereas there is another philosophical school that was propagated by Sankaracharya. You know that there are 4 pithas in the Hindu religion. One pith is in the Govardhan pith, which is in the Puri in Orissa. You know that. All these 4 pitha are established by the Sankaracharya, ancient Sankaracharya. And the Sankaracharya believes that the God and the soul, they cannot exist independently. They can exist at the same time. Even the God cannot exist without the soul, means without the human creature and the other creatures. And even the creature cannot exist without the God. And that's why the philosophy propagated by Sankaracharya is non-dualism. It is a not dualistic philosophy. It is a non-dualism, which is known as the Advaita, because it is not a dualism. Soul and a God cannot exist independently. They will exist simultaneously together. And there was another philosophy which was propagated by the Ramanujan, which was also coming under the non-dualism, means Advaita. But it was a different type of Advaita. And that's why it is known as a Visishtadvaita. It is a special kind of Advaita. And what was the speciality in the Advaita? The Sankaracharya talks that the Tattva, that is, there is a three parts in the nature. That is, the one part is a Tattva. Tattva includes all the things. All the things means Jeev, which is a living things, Ajeev, which is a non-living things, and the God. So these are the three things which exist together. That's the Tattva. Even the God cannot exist without the Jeev and Ajeev. Even the Jeev cannot exist without the God and Ajeev. Even the Ajeev cannot exist without the Jeev and God. So all will exist together. It was the philosophical orientation about the God and the living creature. Because whenever we see the dualism, non-dualism, or the Visishtadvaita, Advait, Dvait, and Visishtadvaita, all they are trying to explain the relationship between the God and the creatures. Advait and Dvait, they have taken only two things, living things and a God. They are not thinking about the non-living things. Like that, the rivers. River is not a living things. Like that, the mountains. Mountain is not a living things. Like that, the stones and everything. They are not a living things. So they are talking only about the living and God. But the Visishtadvaita talks about all the things. That's why they are not talking about the God and soul. They are talking about the Tattva. Tattva means the everything which is in this universe. That is the Tattva. And Tattva will include the Jeev, Ajeev, and God. These three things exist together. And the second thing that the Visishtadvaita talks about is the Hita. Hita is the, you can understand it in the way that it is a way of appraising the effort of God. Because we know in the Indian mythology that this world is created by the God. We are taken care by the God. God is taking care all of us. The things which is happening, it is a God wish. Even sometime if the something mishappening happens to us, we say that let it be, the God is seeing everyone. Means we are relying upon the God. So that's why the Visishtadvaita, which is propagated by the Ramanujan, talks that we should do a worship, that is the bhakti, to the God, because the God has created us. That is the bhakti is the also one of the component of the Visishtadvaita. And the next one is that Purusartha. If we are doing a bhakti, if we are appraising the God's effort, if we are getting a knowledge, if we are understanding the other tattva of this nature, tattva means the jeev and ajeev, both we are understanding, then we can get the moksha. So getting moksha is not very simple as per the Visishtadvaita. You can't get a moksha when you will do a bhakti, when you will understand the tattva, you will get a knowledge, you will act for the society, then you will get a moksha. So these three are the different philosophical school in the Vedanta. Even when we talk about the orthodox system of a philosophy, the one philosophical school we have seen, that is the Vedanta philosophy. In the Vedanta philosophy, we have seen the Advaits, Dvaits, Visishtadvait. Okay, these three things we have seen. But there was another set of a philosophy also in the Orthodox, because Orthodox philosophy says that those who accept and acts as per the religious doctrine, they accept the authority of a Vedas. So these three philosophy that I was talking about, it was the Vedantis philosophy. Within the Vedantis, these three philosophical schools we have seen: Dvait, Advait, and Visishtadvait. There was another set of a philosophy also, which is known as Vaisesika philosophy, under which comes Nyaya, Samakya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa, है ना? न्याय वैशेषिका, योगा वैशेषिका, मीमांसा Vedanta, like that it comes. But you will, I think, in the latter part, the Nyaya and Samakya we have to study, so that there we will understand in the detail what are those philosophical schools. But here you should understand, when we talk about the Vedantis philosophy means Dvait, Advait, Visishtadvait. They are practical oriented. They are practical oriented because it have a component of experience. Whereas when we talk about the Vaisesika, they are theory oriented. So these are the important aspect of the two orthodox system. The Nyaya and Samakya, Mimamsa, all those things we will discuss later on. And even though there is a combination of the two philosophical schools, like a Yoga Samakya, Mimamsa Vedanta, like that. There is a combination also. So we will see later on all those philosophical schools as the time will be coming. Here we will study about the Vedantis philosophy. So this was the basic understanding about the Vedantis philosophy. What is Vedanta? How the Vedanta emerged? How the concept of Vedanta emerged? Okay. So now I think we can have a question answer session. So if anybody have any doubt, any question, they may ask now. Any question?
Sir,
Ha, yes, Durga.
Dwayat and Advait
Sir,
का
Ha.
मंजू
Hmm.
जो है जो द्वैत और अद्वैत फिलोसफी
Hmm.
जो both फॉलो करेगा डुअलिज्म मोनोनिज्म देन
Hmm.
का कोई एग्जांपल है क्या द्वैत और अद्वैत फिलोसफी का
नहीं, Dvait and Advait will not follow both. Those who are the Dvaits, they are believing that uh,
गॉड गॉड एंड
God
सोल
and
एग्जिस्ट
soul can exist independently. That is the dualism. And those who are Advait, they believe that God and soul are one thing, cannot exist independently. Okay. So it is as per their belief system, how they are believing.
सर प्योर मोनोइज्म कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है उसके बारे में थोड़ा
Pure monoism, actually, when we talk about the pure monoism, now, pure monoism, actually, this is the educational philosophy from the heterodox system, where they are not accepting the authority of a god. They are not accepting authority of a Veda. They don't believe on the this type of a belief system, and they believe that the soul, that the jeev is the, they can exist alone. That is the monoism. They believe in that. So that the monoism is not coming in the orthodox system. They are coming in the heterodox system. Monoism. When we come to the orthodox system, here two things come: dualism and non-dualism. Monoism is a different thing. It comes in the heterodox system. They don't accept the authority of Vedas. They don't accept the authority of the religious doctrine. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, Durga, is it clear to you?
जैसे yes.
Yes, Mona Lisa, you were trying to ask something.
sir, Vedanta is called Uttara Mimamsa. Is it true or false? बहुत जगह में देखे हैं कि मतलब लिखा गया है कि वेदांता मतलब उपनिषद और उत्तर मीमांसा.
Uh, uh, Upanishads are the. Can you repeat your question once again?
सर, आप जो बोले कि
नहीं.
दोनों पार्ट में मतलब
हम्म.
ऑर्थोडॉक्स को हम लोग जैसे कि थेइस्टिक और एथेइस्टिक मतलब जैसे कि एग्जिस्टेंस मतलब वो लोग रिलेटिंग टू एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ गॉड वो लोग बोले हैं कि थेइस्टिक और उसके अंदर जो चार आ रहे हैं सांख्य न्याय और वैशेषिक योग और थेइस्टिक्स में अंदर आ रहे हैं वो तो एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ गॉड को तो उसके अंदर आ रहे हैं मीमांसा और वेदांत तो मीमांसा को पूर्व मीमांसा और वेदांत को उत्तर मीमांसा ये बोला गया है मैं 2-3 जगह देखी हूँ ये सही है
It's true. It's true. Yes, it is
सर
true.
आप जो मतलब जो टेबल बताए उसका वो टेबल क्या मतलब दे सकते हैं ग्रुप में
टेबल मुझे बनाना पड़ेगा क्योंकि मैं जो टेबल बनाया हूँ ना वो ऐसा है लिखा हुआ मेरे हाथ का. So I will make a table and then I will give you. Okay.
सर तो फिर हम लोग वेदांतो फिलोसॉफी को डुअलिस्टिक बोले या फिर नॉन डुअलिस्टिक?
वेदांता में दोनों ही फिलॉसफी आते हैं, डुअलिस्टिक भी आते हैं, नॉन डुअलिस्टिक भी आते हैं। जो दुर्गा ने क्वेश्चन पूछा मोनोइज्म, मोनोइज्म वेदांता में नहीं आता है। वेदांता में दोनों ही आते हैं, डुअलिस्टिक एंड नॉन डुअलिस्टिक दोनों ही आते हैं वेदांता में।
सर वो जो बुद्धिज्म, जैनिज्म, चार्वाक ये सब मोनोइज्म में आ जाएगा?
उसका थोड़ा डिफरेंट फिलोसफिकल सिस्टम है। इसके बाद जैनिज्म पढ़ना है, जैनिज्म पढ़ाएंगे तो हम पूरा उसको डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन करेंगे, ठीक है,
जी
क्योंकि
सर।
उसका फिलोसफिकल सिस्टम थोड़ा डिफरेंट है। आई विल एक्सप्लेन एट दैट टाइम, है ना, बिकॉज 5 मिनट में एक्सप्लेन करने से ठीक नहीं होगा। ओके, दैट टाइम आई विल एक्सप्लेन because all
जी
those
सर।
things are in our syllabus, so obviously I have to discuss all those things. I will discuss that where it will come. Okay, Monalisha.
जी सर। जी सर, थैंक
Okay,
यू।
okay, thank you. Any other, anyone who want to ask question? Okay, so if there is no question, I
सर
yes, please.
सर द्वैतों में आपने बोला कि गॉड एंड सोल एग्जिस्ट इंडिपेंडेंटली, मींस दिस टू आर डिफरेंट एंटिटीज।
Complete your question, then I will speak.
देन अद्वैत में क्या हुआ ना, गॉड एंड सोल्स आर सेम।
hmm.
विशिष्ट अद्वैत में क्या हुआ ना, सोल इज द पार्ट ऑफ गॉड होगा क्या?
Nahin, see, when we talk about the Dvait, they says that there is the two identity. One is the God, another one is the soul, and both can exist. They can, means their existence are independent. The God is not dependent on the soul is not dependent on the God. है ना, दो can, both can exist independently. But the Advait says that they cannot exist independently, they are same, है ना। इंडियन मैथोलॉजी में हम लोग देखते हैं, जो हमारे यहाँ जो the mythology which we follow, we says that the all the living creatures are made by the God. Made by the God means what? They cannot exist independently. If my mother is giving birth to me, so my existence is not independent. My existence cannot be delinked with my parent. It can be linked. It will be always linked. So my existence is not independent of my parent. That is the Advait. Because Advait says that the creatures, the universe is, the nature is made by the God. That's why they exist together. Whereas when we talk about the Visishtadvait, they are also saying that the God and soul are existing together. It is a, actually the Visishtadvait is the special kind of non-dualism. Visishtadvait is a special kind of Advaitavad. Because Advait says that God and soul will exist together. That is accepted by the Visishtadvait. But they are saying the different parameters. Because in the Advait, only God and soul were considered. Here in the Visishtadvait, God, soul, means the God, Jeev and Ajeev, which is non-living, they are also considered, and they are also considering that all these three are together. हम बोलते हैं ना, ये नदी को, पहाड़ को, पर्वत को किसने बनाया? भगवान ने बनाया. Means their existence are linked with the God. So they cannot exist independently. They cannot exist without the wish of a God. So that is the extension, that is the speciality of Advait. That is Visishtadvait. Visishtadvait is made of a Visist, that is a special, and Advait. It is a special kind of Advait which was propagated by the Ramanuja. And they also says that since God has made all of us and our existence are not independent of a God, that's why we praise the effort of a God by the means of a bhakti. And by bhakti, by appraising the God, by getting the knowledge and all those things, we can reach to the moksha. Because the moksha is the ultimate level of the salvation. So it is a special kind of Advait. Is it clear to you, Rosalind?
Yes, sir.
सर
Yes, Pratibha.
सर जो आपण कहले लास्ट न्याय समीक्षा मीमांसा एटा को फिलोसफी रे जीवो
ये आपका ऑर्थोडॉक्स में ही आता है, लेकिन ऑर्थोडॉक्स का एक डिफरेंट फिलॉसफी। ऑर्थोडॉक्स में दो तरीके का फिलॉसफी होता है। एक फिलॉसफी है आपका वेदांतीज फिलॉसफी विद इन द ऑर्थोडॉक्स, अनदर वन इज द वैशेषिका फिलॉसफी। विद इन द वैशेषिका न्याय, समख्या, योगा, पूर्व मीमांसा, उत्तर मीमांसा, all those things will come. There are two philosophical systems within the Orthodox. One is the Vedantis, another one is the Vaisesika. Is it clear to you, Pratibha?
यस सर
हाँ, दुर्गा।
सर मोनोइज्म कांसेप्ट ताले हमें कहया गले एथिस्ट माने ही देइछंती कांसेप्ट
हाँ
माने
हाँ
गॉड ऊपर बिलीव करनांदी।
हाँ, that I was saying ना, the same thing I was saying, I think. Same thing I was saying, that we see that the two different parts, one is the orthodox, one is the heterodox. Orthodox believes in the God, the religious doctrine, and the heterodox they don't believe. So who they don't believe, from there monoism comes. Here the dualism and non-dualism comes. Okay, Durga. I think now we can stop the class because it's already 11:30 and you have to go for the another class, I think so. So shall we stop this class? Okay. Thank you for being with me in this session. Have a nice time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.